Guy, it's so lovely to see you, and thank you for being here today to do this video. And this video is for your upcoming workshop. So for those of you who haven't yet met Guy, he is a study tutor and a trainer at the Trust, and a very welcome part of the team. Hi Guy, can you tell us a little bit about your background and why you're doing this workshop?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Kim. I'm one of those people who has what we now call in this day and age a portfolio career behind me. So I've had a number of different chapters and stages, some time in the performing arts, a little bit of time in the world of IT, and for the last, I just realized the other day, it'd been 20 years since I started freelancing in the learning and development space, usually in the private sector. So I did a whole bunch of things as a result of that. It rekindled a much earlier interest in psychology. I qualified as an executive coach. I went back to distance learning uni to do my postgrad in psychology, and then that path eventually led me to the Psychosynthesis Trust, where you kind of now find me. And I graduated. I think I was one of the first cohorts to graduate under the I hesitate to call it the shadow because it's quite a loaded word, but the shadow of the pandemic. So my CNG2, my final year there was when we were largely in lockdown. So you may recall, we pivoted and shifted to the online and the hybrid forms of working very rapidly, as did the world of coaching and learning and development in the corporate space. And we seem to have come out the other side of that with a very changed industry that still retains the previous ways of carrying out all these sorts of forms of work, whether they're more career oriented or more therapeutic, along with these much newer formats that we're now all it seems very comfortable with, including the format we're speaking on today.
Mhm. And of course, that's true of counseling and psychotherapy, is
Yeah,
all of our worlds have changed post-pandemic.
completely.
So you're doing an in-person CPD event,
Yeah,
which means that anyone who comes to it, counsellors included, will have a CPD certificate
yeah,
for their time. And
yeah,
and your workshop is on coaching.
yeah.
So, and it follows on from the taster that you did last month.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about why people should come to your, without being too salesy, what is on offer?
there's 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 so much to say, so and I do struggle with being concise, so I'm gonna work hard at being concise with this. I guess the background context, the big why, is that the worlds of counseling and coaching have a lot of overlap. And I think a lot more people are realizing that. And we're seeing that even within, for example, the BACP and the British Psychological Society, coaching is here to stay. It's a big part of the field that we could give the umbrella term to of human development. So I think that is one of the reasons that we're putting this on, because there's a lot of curiosity about it. And what a lot of qualified counselors and therapists may or may not know is that a lot of the skills that they have worked very hard to develop to do those jobs have equipped them actually in really substantial ways to explore coaching. So what's on offer is, I think there's a couple of different ways you might come out of this experience. One is for those people who, in purely in terms of their continuing professional development and having the richest, most enhanced skill set that they can bring to their existing clients, their existing practice, this can be a very useful additional lens through which to look at client work. And it could be as simple as that. It could be satisfying your curiosity about what does the word mean, where is it similar, where is this practice similar or different to what I as a clinical professional already do. Another way that I think people may profit from it professionally is that it is entirely possible that if you're that interested in coaching, you can develop what's called a dual practice, whereby you present, if you like, two different professional identities, or rather two different professional offerings to potential clients. Some clients may feel more comfortable and easy about applying to get in touch with someone who is a coach compared to someone who bears the title psychotherapist, for example. And I guess there's also a possibility that some people might like the idea of coaching, what it has to offer, and its different focus. They may like it so much that they think, you know what, perhaps I've had enough of being a therapist for a little bit, and I'm going to go and try this and expand my professional life by moving into a new chapter. So there's some possible ways I think people might make use of the material.
They're quite aligned professions.
They are, and the strong evidence for that is that you see, as I mentioned, the BACP. They have there's a substantial amount of work they've done in the space. They've developed their own competency framework around coaching and the training and development of coaches. The British Psychological Society has an entire chapter now devoted to coaching psychology. If you're really, really super interested in it, you can go and do full-on university level tertiary qualifications in coaching psychology. So there's a strong alignment because it's all fundamentally about human development, growth, learning. In fact, I would say the difference between the two, and we'll be exploring this in some depth on the workshop. The difference between the two is it's almost a shift in emphasis rather than it is a radically different skill set. It's not really a radically different skill set. There are models and frameworks that have been developed in the world of coaching, which will be new to a lot of people. But as I said before, I think the core skill set, the fundamental skill set of being someone who is there not to tell you the answers, but to facilitate your own capacity to learn and develop, it absolutely puts them, in the same ballpark, is what I would say.
Sounds interesting. So
Mm.
when people walk away from your workshop, will there be skill sets that or models that they're learning? How will
Yeah,
that?
yeah, absolutely. So we're going to look at a couple of the really, really popular coaching frameworks, which are, to be honest, very quick and easy to take up. But again, they help to reinforce that a coach has a different focus. There's a different emphasis in the work. So we'll be looking at a couple of models that if you were to go and if you're going to take the curiosity that you currently have, and even after this workshop, if you were to really run with it and then go and do a more full-on, more involved coaching training and maybe seek some form of accreditation, these would be the kind of things you would absolutely be bumping up straight away. So from that point of view, I think that will give a very immediate and strong sense of, okay, that's what it's like to wear a different hat as a coach, because the cognitive frameworks that we're going to be looking at will very clearly illustrate the difference in emphasis.
Brilliant. Have you got
Mm.
any last words you would like to say about your workshop?
The only other thing is thinking, in a sense, we'll be looking at coaching, if you like, agnostically. In other words, as uh, just like in the world of psychotherapy, the world of coaching has people who have very different views of like their theory of human development, their theory of human nature. So in the same way, in therapy, we have the psychodynamic and the gestalt and the so on and so forth. You'll find that same variance and diversity in the world of coaching. And again, we'll be looking at how that occurs and why that is. It's also, I think, interesting to say that coming into the context of the Psychosynthesis Trust, the building where we're holding all of this, there has been some work by psychosynthesists in looking at what coaching means in the psychosynthesis context and what psychosynthesis as a theory of human nature, as a theory of human development, can offer, which is its own particular spin on coaching. So with that, we can start to appreciate how someone who is trained in a transpersonal paradigm can bring something to the coaching equation, which is its own very particular thing. So I think it's useful to know that not only we'll be looking at coaching generally, but we'll be touching a little bit on and what is it that psychosynthesis brings to the field, which I guess makes a somewhat of a unique offering.
Oh, lovely. That
Okay.
sounds like an interesting taster day to dip your toe into coaching.
It is. It's going to be very, very practical. I have a couple of very experienced coaching colleagues who are going to be supporting it. We'll be doing small group work. There'll be exercises. I don't like to spend the entire day just talking at people and doing PowerPoint slides. So we'll be doing a lot of exercises, and people have the opportunity, just like they would in one of our trainings in, say, the counselling diploma, the opportunity to sit in a space with actual human beings and try these frameworks on for size, just to see what it feels like to be in a conversation that has a different emphasis. So yeah, my hope is to make it really experiential as well as a kind of cognitive introduction. So that's what you're in for if you come.
Excellent. Well, looking forward to it happening.
Right.
It sounds very interesting.
Right.
And also about time that at
Mm.
the trust we offered something on such an aligned profession. Thank you,
Yeah.
Guy.
You're very welcome. Good to see you. Thanks very much. Looking forward to seeing you there. It's the
Yeah,
28th of June, a Saturday, 10 till 5. So looking forward to seeing you if you come.
excellent. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Kim. Bye.